So the past few days, Stranger Things have been hit with a lot of just negative publicity, and understandably so. I mean, let's be honest, the final episode has so many just like bad writing where people are just like, this is just horrible. There were definitely some good moments as well, but overall, there was some bad, just really bad writing, and you know what? It got worse because we were able to get some insight based off an interview with the Duffer brothers, who are the writers of this show, and man, some of the stuff they asked was just really shows that they just kind of just neglected or didn't care, and then just like maybe they just had the mentality that like people are gonna like it regardless. If we just put more focus on the scene, and then people will just kind of like shoo away the really bad writing. So we're gonna go through some of these questions here and their answers. So someone with the interview asked, they said, fair enough. Another question I had that other people have been asking is, once they get the abyss, where are all the creatures? Where are all the Demogorgons, the Demodogs, the bats? Are they hiding? That is literally the biggest, like, I think, plot hole in that final episode. It's just, we can talk about the elf stuff at the end and just kind of was a little wonky there. But this is just completely like a big, just giant, like just hole. It's just a giant, someone just took a cannon to the side of your house and there's just a big hole there. Like, it's just that noticeable. We're just like, when I was just watching with my cousin, we're just like, where's everyone else at? Why is it just those two? And not only are the Demogorgons and Demodogs and the bats didn't come up, the Mind Flayer and the Vecna just got their butt whooped so easily. Like, so it's just, if they would at least made it look like a really tough fight, it would have been better, but still, it doesn't account for the Demogorgons, Demodogs, and all that. And then they just made the two main villains just look like patty cake work, you know? And they said, Matt Duffer said, mainly it's just that Vecna was not expecting to sneak attack on his home turf. Never in a million years could he imagine that. Home Dog has like a 20 in like intelligence, like D&D stat, dude. That Vecna is smart. Like, he's not a dummy. And he went into the mind of like Hopper and such. Like, if he could go into different people's minds, you don't think he never could have expected, or at least had the probability to think that like maybe they're trying to get into my world as like a possibility. Like, come on, like, that's just so dumb. They're there somewhere. We obviously discussed having a demo battle on top of the Mind Flayer battle, but it felt more right to us that why does he need the demos when the Mind Flayer is his giant thing and can attack them? Well, if that's the case, why did they get defeated so easily? Like, if he felt like he only needed the Mind Flayer, but they easily got defeated, it's just like, was Vecna that dumb? Like, you think Vecna wants to lose? Like, no, Vecna wants him to suffer and die. He would cause all chaos, regardless, but he doesn't need his little ant army to attack. He's going to take care of himself. It's a giant desolate planet. If you recall, you see Henry wandering the planet back in season 4, and at some point in his journey he does see a demo far in the distance, but it's not like they're hanging out in little huts. They're not like a giant civilization of demos up there. That just sounds like you're just trying to cover your back here, when it's just in reality it's like he could have commanded, he could have had demo biscuits, whatever, and that like and the Mind Flayer with them just waiting. Like, he could have easily done that. Easily. So, it was just, that alone, like, that question alone just really shows that, like, they just really did not really care, or just, like, wanted to shift so much focus on the heroes to where we would focus so much more on that, and that we would just, like, ignore that big giant hole that's on the side of my, like, wall. It's like, no. After Volume 1 and Volume 2, with it being not the best, we're going to be, like, probably extra critical. If Volume 1 and Volume 2 were amazing, and then we had that, yeah, we would still critique it, but I don't think we would, like, harp on it as much. It just shows that from Season 5 that, like, the effort has been just dog crap with writing, that we're going to be so extra critical in this episode, and so. But let's look at some of the other ones. I like this one here. It says, this is a fandom that I've realized over the past month or two that does not love ambiguity. Like, we want certainty, definitive answers, basically. How does you feel about the fans who are upset there isn't more clarity about 11? And Matt Duffer said, are a lot of people upset about that? I really don't know. And it's like, yeah, like, maybe as the writer, you can know in your mind what you believe is to be like what really happened, but then the writing is just gives the ambiguity to us. Gosh, I cannot speak. But as a fan, we don't want that. Either like kept it as like she died to sacrifice, or like confirm that she's still alive. I wish they would at least just confirm that she's still alive. I just don't like the wondering. And that's why, and I just love that, like, people are just, Matt Duffer's like, are a lot of people really upset about that? Like, yeah, yes, because we want certainty. We don't want things to be open-ended, because we're always going to wonder, is she really alive or not? No matter what theories we come up with, no matter what we tell ourselves at the end of the day, you know, we don't have confirmation, and that will eat at people, because they're always going to wonder, is she freaking alive? Personally, I think she is, but if you believe that she isn't alive, I'm perfectly fine with agreeing with you on that as well, because it's just so ambiguous. But then, and then you get into like the plot hole is like, could Kylie really have done what she did? Like, how would she have done that? Like, by the time that she got shot, and then the time where 11 was like about to sacrifice herself, would she have been alive that long? Like, so you get into more plot freaking holes there, dude. Ugh. And so another question here, I had to look through so many different articles here, guys, because it's like no one didn't have all the like questions, or I didn't find it. But I wonder if some articles are just like didn't want to put some of these questions in there because it just made Stranger Things look bad. I don't know. But it's this one says, I saw this from a number of people talking about this online, and the staff also wanted to know. Will was connected to the Hive mind, but didn't feel anything when Vecna was impaled and decapitated when the Mind Flayer was attacked. Why not? Yep, I mean, the scene where he, they, like, look at the scene and he gets, like, shot in the hand or whatever, like, Will feels that, but when Humdog's getting decapitated, they're like, they just shy away from that. And they said, well, we aren't showing him when the Mind Flayer is being attacked, okay? When he's getting decapitated at that point, the Mind Flayer is dead, and so at that point, he severed the connection between him and Vecna. Yeah, but if Vecna is dying, and then the Mind Flayer is dead with it, wouldn't that equal to maybe Will dying as well? Because they're all three connected, they all three die, you know? Just throwing that out there, you know? And they said, so you're saying it could be off camera? And they said, when the Mind Flayer is getting attacked, we see how much pain he's in, obviously, even when Henry's memories, but we just want to focus on the final battle with our heroes, which just shows that, like, we basically want to just neglect that writing and hope to you guys just focus so much on the hero aspect that you guys will like that so much, you guys can just shoo that away. But as I said, people have been so extra critical with this season because it's just been so dog crap. We're going to notice things, I think, even more like than normal, more flaws. And and when I first watched season 5, and until I watched videos, I didn't even notice that. I didn't even realize to think about that. I'm like, yeah, when Vecna's getting his head chopped off, why didn't Will get affected by that at all? That would have been very interesting. But yeah. And then another one they asked, it said, what happened to the military after blowing up the Upside Down? Ross, in the 18-month gap, said, I suppose there's not much else to do. You can't explore this other dimension. There's no 11 to chase anymore because she's gone. So my guess is that they just slowly dismantled... So my guess is they just sort of slowly dismantled operations and left town. That just... One, it doesn't make sense from a writing perspective, because it's like... a lot of the main cast, you know, some of the main cast, Nancy, Joan, killed a lot of their men. I doubt they would just be like, oh, just suit up, or, you know, 11's gone. We can just, like, forget everything you did, and we're just going to turn a blind eye. Like, and then, but then my guess is that they just sort of, it's like that, my guess, like, it's just like, homie, dude, you wrote this for like 10 years. What do you mean it's your guess? What do you mean it's your guess? Like, give us certainty. Like, my thing is just like, what would have been the better route? Just been honest and been like, yeah, guys, our writing wasn't the best. But then it's like, but then people can ask, well, you spent $500 billion. It's been a few years since you guys were working on it. Why didn't you guys really like sift through this out? And then it's like, so you have to go down that rabbit hole. I don't know. Maybe were they lazy? Were there's other opportunities that they were focused on? I don't know. So it really puts them in a bad situation. But at the end of the day, it's their fault. They had the time and they had the money, and they come out with this. Overall, like, season 5 is definitely not good. And it's not even like and it has nothing to do with like the acting of like the characters themselves, or like the actors and actresses themselves. My biggest thing is just the writing just sucked. The writing was just so garbage. And it's just like, brother. But like, there was some good stuff. Like Eddie, or not Eddie, but like Dustin giving tribute to Eddie with the Hellfire and flipping off the principal and all that. I love that they tied that in together. I really did like Eddie. And so it was just like, that was really good. I don't know, I like the scene with Robin, Steve, Jonathan, and Nancy. I like that. I like the scene with Hopper and Joyce. I really liked a lot of the part with the epilogue, but like the 1 hour like attack scene, it was just not good. Volume 2 is not good. It was, yeah. I mean, it's whatever. It's at the end of the day, it's just a show, but it's just like also like you get hooked on the show and you get like emotionally attached to it, and maybe connect with characters in the show. You know, maybe it's helped you through times where you're having a low moment and you watch the show. So it's just kind of like to see the way how it ends. It's like, man, I really wish it would have been a little bit better, but it's meh. It's, yeah, that's just my overall thoughts. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are. And you guys have a good one, and bye-bye.